Jacob Harrison's in the house.
How we doing, sir? I'm Jake Harrison from the All in Motion podcast. Happy to be here. I just want to thank you, all these great people here on this panel, and all the great people out there for the opportunity of my first PODFEST. So thank you. It's a pleasure meeting Caroline here. So it's been amazing. George and Trent, thank you.
Jacob, tell us a little bit about All in Motion,
Yes,
that
sir.
podcast.
Thank you for asking. I love the question, so appreciate that. All in Motion podcast, my mom sent me away to a program, a boarding school about the year 2000. So from that, when I graduated, I had this thought in my head that I really wanted to give back and help others, right? And so the idea was, later on, I kind of took a while, but then I was in the military, did that whole thing. Been through a decent amount of trauma in my life. And so the All Motion podcast, we know that we're all in motion, we're all moving, we're all doing 100 different things. It's time to sit down with people, find out what they do, and be able to talk about mental health, talk about those traumas, talk about, guys that have PTSD like myself that were in Iraq and Afghanistan. So it just gives everybody an opportunity to come together. Don't have to be necessarily military or military background.
Right.
But mental health is important and needs to be talked about.
So you were talking, one of the things I know when you talk about mental health, and I'm, being the only woman at the table right now, I'm surrounded by 3 men, and I know when it comes to mental health in the space of dealing in men, it tends to be far more taboo to being able to want to engage in that conversation. And recently we were saying that's too heavy of a subject to be talking about on podcasts. So what do you guys think about that? Is that something men should be talking about?
Jacob, talk a little bit about how you're addressing that in your life, about getting vulnerable, like talking through that, bringing that out to the open.
Trent, thank you for the question. I really appreciate that. My mom actually said to me when I started it 3 years ago, it's therapeutic for me. Yeah. And I was sharing with somebody earlier. I definitely, suffer from PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder. But how I explain it to people, my trauma started way before the military, before I was in, some of those areas in Iraq and Afghanistan. Those events led up to that. So, and to answer your question, I deal with, like I said, this podcast is great. I have two amazing hosts, Scar City and Melissa Jackson, that are amazing people that we created an amazing team from different walks and backgrounds. So, having that, been to therapy, and I think the most important thing, people to take away from this message, All in Motion, and all of us together, is coming together and finding others to get through those any type of trauma, mental health, either, because we're all, at some points in our lives, we all get depressed. Man. It's important that we surround ourselves with good people that will push us when we're down in those low times, if that makes sense.
Yeah, you know what I love, Caroline, about that question is, I think you're right. I think men don't do very well in this. And to Jacob's point, where I found a great solace for me as an entrepreneur and business owner, I joined the Entrepreneurs Organization, and it's all about forum. Every month you have a forum with 8 other business owners like. It is probably male-dominated. There's probably about 80% more, male to female in that group. But there's a lot of female insight. But it is a confidential conversation every month. So you bring your challenges to the table, and you get used to talking about it. One thing I love about getting this thing in the open in Jacob's platform, All in Motion, is it doesn't say mental health. All in Motion, that can mean a lot of things.
Oh, yeah.
Not like, hey, get your head fixed, and I think that can mean a lot of things.
Oh, yeah.
Not like, hey, get your head fixed, and I think we could go with that podcast name. But, I don't know if the men are going to tune in to get your head fixed. Because we get defensive fast, right? So having that place and friendships in our lives that we can talk to, I think men are leaning into it, but it's a select few we'll talk to, and it's got to be in a confidential place. For you, Jacob, ideal client for you, someone out there, and maybe it's the person you're helping or needs help. Talk to us a little bit about what you're looking for with people.
Absolutely. So like I said, we have an amazing team. We have 2 amazing hosts. Scar City being from Harlem, New York City, growing up all over New York. He provides a lot of cybersecurity expert, his music management, and we have Melissa Jackson, who's an amazing host. And so we just want everybody just to check it out. If you're struggling out there, if you have, you're a soldier, Marine, Airman, check us out. We're all going through it. Check All in Motion out. We have a lot of episodes that definitely can help you get through whatever you're going on in life. And thank you so much for having me.
Excellent.
So how can they get in touch with you, George?
Basically, 407-459-1318.
Boom.
Hey.
Allinmotionpodcast.com. Allinmotionpodcast.com is the website. Thank you so much.
Jacob and George, thank you for joining Carolyn and I.